and welcome to Certified Black Weirdo. My name is Angela Tharp, and here we celebrate weird black work every week. This week we're talking about Steve Lacy, and specifically the album Gemini Writes. I am still on my patio. Typically I record these like in a little booth, but I've been so busy, so I've just been trying to make some time to come out here and just do it on the porch. But yeah, hopefully there's not too much sound because of this, it's popping. So you can see the sun is setting and everybody's just trying to get to wherever they want to go. So typically how I've been structuring this is I've been splitting it into like little 3-minute segments. We've got, what are you doing to take care of yourself? Which is the golden question. To kind of just center, care alongside all of the cultural commentary and art. Like how am I taking care of myself? How are you taking care of yourself? Like how are we sort of trying to stay grounded in that way, even with everything else that's going on in the world, which is a lot. So we'll start with that. Then we'll do what is this weird black work of the week about. Then we'll do what was weird about it. And then we'll do a hopefully relevant tangent, because I do love a tangent. Then we'll talk about my favorite part. You can tell me what your favorite part is if you've listened to it. And then we'll end with what else there is to talk about this week. So that's what we'll do today. And we'll go ahead and jump into the first segment. And I hope you're doing well. Bye. Okay, so the first segment, so I was trying to make sure the mic is on. It is loud. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see how loud it is in retrospect. But we've got motorcycles. We've got helicopters. We've got planes. There's a lot going on. We've got some beeping vehicle. Okay, so I'm going to start with how am I taking care of myself. Let me set my little timer. I guess we've got a timer on here too. So we got about 2.5 minutes left. I'll do 3 just to see. But yeah, it's been a busy time. I feel like spring is always so busy as a teacher, and just like I think when the seasons change, it just feels like there's so much going on in the world, and personally, just trying to wrap up everything before like the slow pace of summer. So yeah, it's been really, really busy on my end for sure, and trying to make sure I balance everything, do like a reasonably good job for the responsibilities that I have. But one thing that I did that I was very proud of was I'm trying to not work on Sundays. And to just, me and my partner have been playing chess, which has been really fun. I don't really know how to play yet. I'm like slowly learning, but yeah, just like, I don't know, playing chess or going outside. Or this Sunday, what I was proud of was I had so much to do. I was like a little bit behind on some stuff. And instead of just like cramming it in before I had to go do something else, I just like went to bed. It was like 2 p.m. I mean, not permanently went to bed like for the rest of the night, but like I took like a 2-hour nap, and then I just read. I was reading something that's really cool is my little e-reader that I have, which is a Books Palma 2. In case you're wondering, in case you're also an e-reader nerd. What was I gonna say? It's like basically just like a phone without the internet, and so you can download any app on it. And I have Libby, and with Libby you can, which is like, maybe you probably know about, it's like a library app. You can get ebooks from it, but you can also read magazines. So I was like reading the New Yorker, and I was reading Gia Tolentino had a new profile on Robin, the like 2000s 90s singer Robin, who apparently is why Rihanna, also known as Rihanna, but I think it's pronounced Rihanna, goes by Rihanna because Robin was popular at the same time, and that's her first name. So anyway, I was just reading magazine articles in bed, and it was really comforting, and just like, I think trying to slow down. I'm reading this book called 4,000 Weeks, which is about like how, time management, but also not just like being so productivity oriented. Okay, we got 10 seconds left. And I would say I'm just trying to take more time, and that's how I'm taking care of myself, is trying to slow down, not check off everything, but just like make sure I'm resting too. Okay, let's go into the next segment. Okay, so now let's talk about what our work of the week is. I listened to Steve Lacy's Gemini Writes, which is so good. And I have let me get my little notes, my very chaotic Cinopad notes. I thought it was so great. I would say, what is it about? I would say that it's about feeling It's about longing. It's about being. Oh gosh, that was the timer from the last segment. And it's just, I don't know, it just feels carefree, but it's like, we'll talk about this in the weird segment, but it's basically like juxtaposing these like upbeat melodies with like this like sad feeling, or like this like fear, or like this, like in Helmet, he says, "My loving you was a hazard." Oh God, sorry, I probably shouldn't be botching it. So I bought my heart a helmet, and there's like this like, or Bad Habit, which is like the most popular song on here, right? You know, this sort of like not knowing what is coming, or the unpredictability of love juxtaposed with like this like upbeatness that makes it feel like everything's fine when it's not. And I just think that that was really interesting. But the whole album, I think, is just sort of like this like exploration of feeling, of queerness, of being bi. Shout out to the bisexuals. And I don't know, it just feels very free. And it's also centered in a way, because there's like sort of like this focus on these ballads and on singing and on the guitar, and it feels like very grounded in a way that's like simple, or not so much simple because it's super experimental and super wide ranging and super complex, but like it feels like something that you can like really listen to and be present without like so much, you know, here, that you don't feel like you can sit with it as well. I don't know, it feels very present to me, which is interesting because it's called Gemini rights, and I feel like Gemini, like the idea of Gemini is sort of like, I mean, according to me, in my like vague memory of what I was taught by poets when I was in grad school, but like sort of like party, you know, go, you know, kind of like has two sides, not so much two-faced as like, you know, maybe has like a day version and a night version of themselves, you know. Maybe let me know if you're a Gemini, let me know, or you know about astrology, let me know what it means to be a Gemini. But I think that this album is interesting that it's called that, because it feels very grounded in a way that's super like lush. So I would say it's about feeling, about being, about longing. And now let's jump into what's weird about it. Okay. So I think like something that I thought was especially weird in a good way, and like certified Black weirdo way of this channel, where I just like love weird stuff. I find it so energizing. I think as an artist, you know, I just find it really special when people are being themselves and in cool ways and in new ways, and sort of exploring what that means. I feel like so much of, I don't know, society everywhere, in America and everywhere, I think it's like, do what everyone has done before you, don't cause any waves, don't step out of line, like just do what you're told and we'll all be good. You know, it's sort of like, I feel like how life can feel. And so to be able to say, actually, I'm going to do whatever I want, and not disrespectfully, but just like boldly be myself. Like whenever I see that, like with artists, which is sort of why I love doing this stuff for this channel, is like, I don't know, it just feels like really inspiring, because it's like, yeah, you should be yourself. Like you should always respect other people, you know, as much as you can, and be loving as much as you can, I think, but also you should be yourself. You know, and you gotta have room for that, and it's bold and it's scary, and it's risky, but ultimately it's so important. So I think I really liked how this album is sort of like exploring, playing with different sounds. There's such a range in it. I really liked Mercury for like the way that it was like using human sounds as an instrument. That reminded me of Dochi's work too. An alligator bites never heal. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was really complex and exploratory in a way that was weird, and then in a good way, you know. I don't know, it's so funny because it's like we really actively as a society use weird as like, that's so weird, that's so cool, and also like, you're weird, that's bad. So sometimes you gotta kind of clarify, but yeah, I just thought that was really cool. And then the juxtaposition, kind of what we were talking about in the last section of, you know, these like upbeat melodies with these sad lyrics, I think is really cool. And special, and something that, yeah, Robin, the singer Robin, apparently did in the 90s and early 2000s. I've just read, yeah, it's in the previous segment, but like I read this profile on her in the New Yorker that was really cool, and was kind of talking about that same sort of juxtaposition, which is cool. Okay, so let's talk about a hopefully relevant tangent. All right, so let's see. Yeah, I think that something that kind of this brought up for me, which I love, this is like my favorite. I write like Black culture essays and also poems. My poems are kind of like just about like, I don't know, weird day-to-day encounters. They're like supposed to be like funny narrative or story poems. But sorry, that was me like being like, anyway. But my essays a lot of time are about Black culture and kind of like what something in Black culture reminds me of. And then it sort of goes into this web. And so I really like doing these tangents because it's sort of like, oh, it's that. But I think that this album really reminds me of, or like the sort of like presence in the way that there's like this focus on the ballads and there's this focus on the instruments, and just sitting with those things like really reminded me of how right now in pop culture going analog has been really something that people are super interested in, you know, and it's getting like really commodified as like an idea, which is, you know, then creates this whole thing of like, okay, if it's a trend online to do something offline, like how long will we stay offline, or are we just going to like go back online to tell, you know, is it just going to become this loop of like, we're doing this thing so that then we can talk about on the internet, which is cool, and then we're going to do it again, and then, you know, like, I don't know, how do we like fully break from the internet, or should we, you know, I don't know. I mean, I like talking to you guys on the internet. I don't think there's anything wrong with being like an internet person. I think it makes us a lot more connected. I think it's part of the reason why people can be so bold is because they can see, oh, other people are doing this too, you know, and like, or other people are doing this in their own way. And like, I'm not, you know, I think about when I was in high school, like Instagram came out my senior year of high school. And it's like, pre that, there was no one to show you how to be besides the people around you. And it's like, it was so regional. Like I'm from like a small town in Tennessee, you know, and it's like, I wouldn't, so much of like how I live my life now, I wouldn't have seen if there wasn't the internet, you know, or, you know, I don't know, just like, it takes a lot to be who you are, which maybe is another theme, a tangent that's coming up. And I think the internet helps with that. But I also think there's something really valuable and important about being grounded and about, I don't know, slowing down and being meditative. And maybe that looks like getting like a dumb phone. Honestly, I wish that like GPS would come back. If we could just have a GPS again, like just like a GPS, it doesn't have to be connected to your car, but just like a little GPS, like a little e-reader size GPS. I feel like that would solve so many problems with people not wanting to use smartphones anymore. So I don't know if they're like paying them off or something, but I don't know if it's that's the answer, or like something like meditation or something like, I don't know, maybe it is analog copies. I love to color on there. So I don't know what the solution is, but I think this just sort of reminded me of how important it is to be present. And I feel like the way the songs here and the focus on that and like the earnestness of the voice, and the voice being this gorgeous thing that has been cultivated, like I just feel like that's so important, even as the world is like constantly like at our necks ready to get our attention elsewhere. I don't know. So that's that. Okay, this one went over. This is why I'm timing these, because I'm like, I love a tangent. Okay, so next we're going to talk about my favorite part of the album. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, obviously Bad Habit, super popular song. I've always loved that one. I said this in one of the shorts, but yeah, Steve Lacy came here to Atlanta for a concert. It was like a sort of like a bunch of indie artists, and I still regret it. I still think about it probably like once a month how I should have gone. But I was too scared to go by myself, or maybe not scared, but I think the older I get, the more I'm like wary of crowd, or maybe it was a COVID thing. I don't know. Probably a COVID thing. I have OCD, so I think like germs, especially post-COVID. Now I'm just like stuck in that mindset because it's sort of been validated by the pandemic. But yeah, I don't know. I get anxious around like lots and lots of people sometimes. And I would say that, yeah, I guess. I mean, maybe if I was like saying something, like if I was like teaching to a big crowd, I'll probably be nervous for different reasons. But I think just like being in a crowd, like being like at a concert, or I think maybe it's a germ, like I don't know, like a germophobia thing. I don't know. Anyway, not the point. But I didn't go. And I regret it because it sounded so cool. Claro was there. There was like a bunch of like indie artists. Anyway, so Bad Habits, like all of the singles I listen to all the time. But I feel like such a treat, and I've talked about this in a lot of the shorts too, but I feel like such a treat of listening to this album was the last song I found so striking, and I really loved it. Give You the World. So good. I love listening to album and being like, oh shit, there's like deep cuts that I wouldn't have found if I didn't do this. Like there's stuff that wasn't like a single that's so important and good, and I just think that kind of goes back to the idea of like trying to be present and trying to be grounded and trying to be focused on something that's not so much like just your productivity goals, which is, for me as someone who's very like, so that is important, but like just art, like exploring art and kind of focusing on other things too. So yeah, I loved that. That was one of my favorite parts. Bad Habits, one of my favorite parts. Oh, and then the quote, I already sang this to you. Sorry for all the vehicles sounds. Hopefully you can't. Maybe I can fix it on the editing so that you can't hear them. We'll see. I've also been putting like a wave sound in the tape so that it's not so quiet. This one obviously it's going to be not going to need that, but maybe that will wash out some of the vehicles here at like, I don't know, 7 p.m. in Atlanta. Okay, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, in Helmet, there's this quote, yeah, but loving you was a hazard, so I bought my heart a helmet. I really like that. I don't know why. I don't know, I just feel like the juxtaposition between, which I've said, between like what he's saying and how he's saying it is really cool. Look at other quotes on here. Yeah, it was really good. Anyway, okay, so that's favorite part. Next is what else? Okay, what else? And just in time for the sun to set and before it gets dark here. One tricky thing about recording out here is the timing of the sun, I guess, or like the light, which is kind of fun. Maybe I'll flip-flop. I do like the booth because it's very controlled. Like I could just like go in there and I know what it's going to be. Out here, it's like a little bit more random, but it is kind of fun to like, I don't know, be out here and talking to you guys like the way I would talk to my friends, or whoever I'm talking to out here on the porch. Anyway, okay, what else? So next week technically is TV week, I think, but there are so many movies that I want to see, like weird black movies that are coming out. The drama today, I would argue, is a very weird black character, so maybe we could do that. So far, we've done just like fully black projects, so let me know what you think, but maybe we could talk about the drama. I'm like so intrigued by that. They Will Kill You is out soon with Zazie Beetz, and let's see, I'll put her name on here, but she's from Industry, which I'm watching right now too, which is like, the TV show Industry is so, it's like so stressful, but it's also so niche, and I'm like really impressed with like how niche the language in the world is, and yet how just like vastly popular it is as a show. The acting and the cast, it's just like a really good show. But anyway, she's in They Will Kill You as well. It's a horror movie, which is like not always my jam, but I'll give it a try. The Christophers, Michaela Cole's in that. Mother Mary, Michaela Cole's in that too. Yumi and Tuscany, I don't think it's going to be weird, but apparently like some executive producer told this other woman who has a black rom-com that like we have to see how this movie goes before they buy her movie, so I'm going to see that. Maybe if there's some weird element, we could talk about that. But maybe I'll just tell you on the side that I like that one. And then Boots Riley has a new movie too. So we might do movies for a while. We'll see. Let me know what you guys want to do. I can rotate genre. But I kind of like to like ride the pop culture wave sometimes because it's really fun to see what other people are saying too. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It's so loud. It's so loud. I haven't been able to go to my booth. Alas. Okay, anyway. So maybe we'll do a movie. I'm going to see the drama on Saturday, and I might see They Will Kill You next week. So, yeah, we'll see about that. But I think that is all for now. Other culture recs on YouTube, as you probably know if you're seeing this. And then on Substack, too, there's like a newsletter that I think this week will go out on Friday. I'm trying to figure out what day is best for that. But that will have like some... What was I going to say? Oh, it'll send it to your email, like the video of the week, the short, and then also just like other culture recs, which is kind of fun, and make like a really like weird stream of consciousness list of things that I read, watch, and listen to. So that will be on there. If that sounds interesting to you. You can also click the link in my YouTube and just lurk without like putting in your personal information, aka email. You could just look at it on your own if you want. Okay. that is that. Thank you for hanging out with me, and let me know how you're taking care of yourself. Let me know what you liked about this album if you've seen it. Let me know any other weird Black culture recs you recommend. Thank you. If anybody is seeing this who saw the video about the cat, the guy who found the cat, I got so many anime recs. I'm really like impressed and excited. So I wrote them all down, and I will report back on those. I'm watching Death Note right now, which is amazing, and yeah, I'll report back on whatever I watch after that. Okay, bye. See you soon.